What's going on, guys? JSGC here, back again for another video. Today we're going to be doing a look at Manchester City's performance so far in the season, and also we're going to have a little reflection about what Manchester City can do as we come back after the international break, and what Manchester City can do to try and stop this little slump that we find ourselves in. So don't forget, like always, if you are enjoying the content, do subscribe to my channel. Also, don't forget social media links there in the description if you want to go and follow me on my Twitter, Instagram and TikTok. Email also in the description as well if you want to hit me up for any sponsorship for any videos or any general business inquiries. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up. 100 likes is the aim, and do let me know your thoughts in the comments below. How do Manchester City stop this slump? Finally, this video is sponsored and brought to you by Football Prizes, who have once more got an amazing prize that you guys can go and check out. It is a signed shirt by Phil Foden of Manchester City. There's lots of really cool instant prizes that you can go and check out as well, including a signed shirt from Ruben Diaz and a signed frame shirt from Savinho at Manchester City as well. It's £3.95 to enter. There's 225 tickets with the competition running until this Friday, so do go and check it out. Links and details, they are in the description, and a huge thank you to Football Prizes for sponsoring this video. So, having a look then how the season's going so far for Manchester City, and I think it's important that you don't just reflect on the last 4 games. We look at things as a whole and where we stand, and right now, Manchester City, we want to be top of the Premier League. We're not. We're 5 points behind Liverpool. We still have to play Liverpool twice this season. They do have a better goal difference. We've played 11 games. We've won 7, drawn 2 and lost 2. Them last 2 losses in the Premier League coming in our last couple of games away from home against Bournemouth and against Brighton. We are 4 points clear of 3rd place. We're 4 points clear of 4th and 4 points clear of 5th and 6th as well. So Manchester City do have a little bit of daylight between ourselves in 2nd place and everybody else, but we don't want to be thinking about everybody else. We want to be thinking about 1st place and obviously trying to catch up Liverpool, and the way we do that is to get back to winning ways as soon as possible. And the same can be said in the Champions League. Was looking pretty healthy for us. First 3 games, drawing against Inter Milan and then winning our next couple of games. Going to the match against Sporting, we lose. We drop out of the top 8, but we know that Manchester City win our next game at home against Feyenoord and an away match against Juventus, which on paper can sound quite difficult, but I think they're both quite winnable games in my opinion, and all of a sudden it can put Manchester City back on track. So if Man City can have a really strong start when we come back after the international break, then I'm pretty confident that Manchester City can push and go from strength to strength. But we need to make sure that we're looking after ourselves, because 4 losses in a row is concerning. If then 4 losses in a row become 5, 6, 7 losses in a row, all of a sudden we're going to find it very difficult to be able to win anything this season, with some fans even suggesting that Man City may even find it too difficult with the squad that we've got to win anything from the position that we're in. I know that Man City are always stronger in the second half of the season. We've got the best manager in the world, in my opinion, in Pep Guardiola, so I'm not ruling anything out when it comes to Manchester City. Only a fool, I think, with the positions that we found ourselves in would rule Man City out from any position, because if there's any team that can make the impossible happen, then it is Manchester City that can do that. But there is certainly things that Man City could be sorting out during this international break, and that's really what I want to speak about in this video. So I think that the first thing that City can do to try and sort this slump out is to try and look and think about things in the long term. We need to sort out what's happening first and foremost with Pep Guardiola. We know that he's not travelling to Abu Dhabi during this international break. It means that his contract situation isn't going to be sorted. I wasn't expecting it to be sorted, because I don't think he's going to give a decision on his future until it gets to December. Normally a decision gets made around December time, so that's next month rather than this month. And I think Pep Guardiola right now will want to give himself as long as possible, so I wouldn't even rule out this going into maybe January or February time. But I just feel like if we can get Pep Guardiola on a new contract sooner rather than later, I think it will give the club a real lift, for the players and for the fans and for everybody else, knowing that you've got a little bit of long-term thinking there from Manchester City. Now, suggestions are saying that it's going to be a 12-month extension. If we are looking towards needing a serious reinvestment back into the squad, and you know, you're looking at 5 or 6 players potentially over the next 12 months leaving Manchester City, then that's 5 or 6 players that need replacing, along with the squad being pretty small and maybe one or two more additions in there. So there's a lot of business to be done, and really you want a manager who's going to be in charge long term at Manchester City. So if I was City, I'd be pushing really hard to try and get Pep not just on a 12-month extension, but I'd be thinking 2 or 3 years and saying, Pep, we need you to sort out this rebuild job to ensure that Man City are in the strongest possible position when he does decide to leave Manchester City. Because if he does end up walking away in the summer and we've still got lots of teething problems on the field, then all of a sudden it becomes we're needing to sign 5, 6, maybe even 7 or 8 new players along with a new manager coming in that isn't thinking about things in the long term. That's very much having a rebuild job, and then it becomes very difficult to have a successful transition, because if a new manager comes in and it just doesn't work for them, where do you go from there? And it's very easy to do. You can end up being like what Man United and Chelsea have had over the last decade, which is you see very successful managers leave and then you struggle to live up to their hype and expectation, and you're always chasing that dream and you're always investing money and hiring managers and sacking managers and bringing in new players, and it can be a vicious cycle really. So really you want a transition to be handed over to a new manager and a new man to come in once the player transition has been completed, and to me that's got to be something that City have got to think about during this international break, in thinking long term and getting that sorted in terms of Pep Guardiola. Does he stay or does he go? We could do with a decision now rather than in 4 to 8 weeks. But Pep Guardiola's been here a long time. He's achieved everything he wants to achieve at Manchester City and more, so he deserves to make his announcements and his decisions when he wants them decisions to be made. Ideally soon. I'm not sure it will be soon. We'll have to wait and see. In terms of the players on the field, I think City need to be thinking during the international break about players' fitness. We've already seen today Matheus Nunes and Manuel Akanji be ruled out of the international duty, so they're going to get a couple of weeks break, which is great. It'd be good to try and get Ake back to full fitness as well, along with Kevin De Bruyne too. Obviously thinking about John Stones and Ruben Diaz, we could do with them being sorted as well. And Jack Grealish, if he does have an injury, we could do with him withdrawing as well. So our squad, that when we do come back after the international break in our first match against Spurs, we've got more options, and options there where we're able to rotate and keep the team nice and fresh, because at the moment these injuries just haven't helped and players just aren't fit, and that's where these problems are coming from. City can play football for 30 to 35 minutes competitively at a very high standard. Rest of the game though, if they've not killed the game off by then, looking very leggy, and that's where teams are starting to bounce off City and taking points off us and scoring goals. So that's fitness has got to be something we're really thinking about. And speaking of fitness, I think just looking further ahead towards the January winter transfer window, we've got to be thinking about bringing fresh new players into the squad, keep the squad nice and fresh, bring that average age of the squad down, and also thinking long term again about the likes of Kyle Walker, Ilkay Gundogan, Kevin De Bruyne. They're getting no younger. We could do with finding some long-term replacements for them. Might not come in January, but certainly got to be thinking about that in the summer. So in my opinion, reinforcements needed in January. Got concerns over Erling Haaland's fitness, about him playing so many games, so we could really do, in my opinion, with a new backup striker. If we could have a backup striker who's able to be versatile, can maybe play in midfield or can play out wide as well, and that would be of great help. Might be quite expensive to do so. So an out-and-out striker shouldn't be too expensive, depending on who City may want to make a move for. But that is something I think City should be thinking about in the January transfer window, and a doable transfer. And certainly with Rodri's injury, thinking about a central defensive midfielder and investing a good amount of money to ensure that we've got a player that can both rotate with Rodri when we're getting back and also complement Manchester City if we've got Rodri back and he can play with him, but also if Rodri's not here, he can alternate with him as well. So that has to be something City want to be thinking about. So that's just some stuff that City could be doing to try and sort out this slump, try and get that feel-good factor back in. You know, football's very much driven by results. You pick up a win or two and you start to feel much better. And, you know, City come back after the international break. We beat Tottenham Hotspur, we beat Feyenoord, and we take points off Liverpool at Anfield, and all of a sudden everybody's feeling pretty good about themselves. If we don't do that, though, very much doom and gloom. And at the moment, it is very much driven by results, and it makes things tiring, it makes things difficult. So there's plenty for Manchester City to be thinking about. I'm hoping for the first time this season we can have a really quiet international break, which doesn't seem to sort or suit Manchester City with things being quiet. There's always one thing or another. So I'm hoping this is going to be a pretty quiet international break where it's all about reflection, rest and recovery. And if it is, I'm still confident that City can do very well this season. So we'll see what happens. So there we go. That has been my thoughts. Do let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new around here. Press that red button, press the bell, and put your push notifications on. Also, don't forget as well to go and check out my social media links. You can find them in the description if you want to go and follow me on my Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Email also in the description too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business inquiries. Do go and check out that awesome prize by Football Prizes. Remember, you could win a signed Phil Foden Manchester City shirt along with 15 instant prizes, including a signed City shirt from Ruben Diaz and a signed framed Manchester City shirt for Savinho as well. So do go and check that out. Links and details there in the description. And a big thank you to Football Prizes for sponsoring this video. And I'll see you all again real soon. So I've been JSGC. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope everyone is safe and well. Peace. Ciao for now.